now at Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women. We are at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge. Today is Monday, November 28th, 2022. It's 10:03 a.m. Would the folks, staff at LCIW, please introduce yourself for the record?
Good morning, Warden Kristen Thomas.
Good morning, Camelia Washington, ARDC Supervisor.
And Ms. Tara P. walking in now.
All right, Warren, we're ready. If you want to go ahead and bring in Ms. Posey.
She's coming.
Good morning, good morning.
Come on.
Good morning. Good morning.
Just a quick reminder, what we're seeing here is a pardon hearing. So what that means is that she has a life sentence, and there was a new law that was passed that allows life sentences to be reviewed and potentially commuted to 99 years. If that happens, and that's why there's a panel of 5 judges. If that happens, it then goes to the governor signs off on it. They have one more parole hearing, which is pretty much a shoo-in, and then she can get released. I'll go over the court documents after the hearing so that we can get more details. But with that, let's continue.
Warden Thomas, like your conference room.
Yes, we're trying. Little improvements.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Posey, good morning. Would you introduce yourself to us? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
My name is Ashley Posey. My DOC is 511449.
Do we have Ms. Hogan here with us?
Ma'am,
I have Jane Hogan listed as your attorney.
yes,
Ms. Myers.
she's supposed to be on. Yes, ma'am.
Is that her in the top corner up there?
Stand by, let me see what she said.
Who is Kara Johnson?
Ms. Renatza,
Yes.
I've just given Ms. Hogan the ID. She should be logging in any second.
Okay, well, while she's dialing in, we'll go ahead and introduce the guests, the folks who are here. Have there with you at the facility is your sister, Ms. Tina Posey. Good
Yes,
morning.
ma'am.
Here in the room with us, I believe we have Sarah Johnston. Is that correct? She's on in the video. Okay, here in person, Sheila Posey, your aunt, Adam Posey, your brother, Donald Posey, your dad, and also the Parole Project here in Minor. So as soon as Ms. Hogan, because I see her, she's there. Ms. Hogan, would you introduce yourself for the record, please?
Morning, Ms. Renatza. Jane Hogan on behalf of Ashley Posey. I'll make a statement at the end of the hearing with the committee's approval.
I think we also have someone here on video on Zoom from the Livingston Sheriff's Department who will be speaking in opposition at the appropriate time. So, Ms. Posey, I'll read some identifying information into the record, after which I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Roche, seated to my immediate left. Your case has been assigned to him. He'll take the lead on the interview. When the interview is concluded, we'll hear from the warden, and we'll hear from all the folks who've indicated they'd like to speak. Then you'll be allowed to make a statement and turn it over to Ms. Hogan to close it out. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Got all that? So you are Ashley Posey, DOC numbers 511449. You're seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in November 2007 in Livingston Parish to life for a second-degree murder conviction. Ms. Posey, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, fellow board members, before us this morning, we have Ashley Posey, Ashley L. Posey, DOC number 511449. Ashley is here today seeking a recommendation for a commutation of sentence for a 207 conviction for second-degree murder. There was some indication in the record in the information presented by Ms. Hogan that the offense was principal to second-degree murder, but checking the master record and checking the rap sheet, it was indicated that the conviction was for a second-degree murder. The applicant was offered a plea deal after she was indicted for second-degree murder. The plea deal was to plead to manslaughter and receive a 20-year sentence. This was mostly because it was established that Ms. Posey was not the shooter. But she decided to go to trial and was found guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced to life without benefits. Ashley is currently 37 years old. At the time of the offense, she was 19. She's been incarcerated for 17 and a half years. Her co-defendants in this case was Eric Petrick. Eric did a plea deal with the DA's office. Plea deal was to manslaughter, and he received a 30-year sentence. Stephen Durham was convicted of conspiracy after the fact of second-degree murder and was sentenced to 5 years. Ms. Posey was a first offender until last week, when we received an updated rap sheet that was red flagged, indicating a 206 conviction for cardinal knowledge of a juvenile. She was sentenced to 2 years at DOC. And because of this conviction for cardinal knowledge, she was upgraded to a second felony offense. In 2006, she was arrested. I think in 2007, she pled no contest and received 2 years sentence. Is that correct, Ms. Posey?
Yes, sir.
Before that, the offense was addressed as a sexual battery, and it was upgraded on the last rap sheet to cardinal knowledge of a juvenile, which requires Ms. Posey to register as a sex offender when released from incarceration. There is no opposition I could find in my PPI. I understand the sheriff's office is here this morning to voice opposition. In my PPI, it states that Sheriff R had no comment. Other members of the legal community, the judge had, the judge had no comment. The district attorney from the 21st DC, Scott Perley, is in favor of clemency for Ms. Posey. In fact, he is recommending that the board do a recommendation for a commutation of sentence in line with the original plea deal, because she was not the actual shooter, and the actual shooter is now serving 30 years and has a good time release date in 4 or 5 years. The rest of the legal community had no comment. The offender's mother is unopposed. The victim's brother is unopposed, and the victim's niece is unopposed. Ms. Posey and a low risk assessment. She's housed in medium custody. She has a good institutional record. Her ACE score is 4. That score tells about adverse childhood experiences that affect the offender's criminality. She has a somewhat low score. She scored 4 out of 10. There's a residency and employment plan in Denham Springs, Louisiana. She will be employed with her brother's brother-in-law's construction company, and she will be living with her mother on Xavier Street in Denham Springs. She's earned a GED in 2009. She has 17 disciplinary write-ups and 17 years of incarceration, which is not good, not bad, but her last disciplinary write-up was in 2016, almost 6 years ago.
Correction. Her last write-up, paperwork sent over, I guess it wasn't added to you, but her last write-up was on 3/16/2021 for Rule 10.
It was dismissed.
That was just
That's why I didn't go to them.
Okay.
Could you let them know?
It was dismissed.
Warren Thomas.
Yes, sir. You were correct. It was a dismissal for the other report, so it is 2016. You were correct.
Okay. Now, Warren Thomas, that leads to question. It was dismissed, but it was a root for fighting.
Yes,
It
sir.
was found out that she was not at fault.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Institutional record and give some details. That's it. Before, Ms. Posey is 37 years old. She has a low risk assessment. She has the GEDs. It has a certification and diploma in upholstery technology. She's a tutor in both upholstery technology and horticultural technology. She has a paralegal study diploma from Blackstone. She also has a legal litigation certification from Blackstone, and she has OSHA training. She's completed 8 or 10 certifications with the National Center for Construction, Education and Research. She's completed multiple programs in reentry, and she is certified as a nursery and landscape professional. Completed a substance abuse program in 2009. Substance abuse violence training in 2012, leadership program in domestic violence 2013, professional program in domestic violence in 2013 also. And I want to note this, that Ms. Posey did multiple training courses in domestic abuse, not for her, but for the benefit of our fellows, which she assists in domestic abuse issues. You should be exposing.
Thank you.
Completed the program, Celebrate Recovery, Life Healing Choices, Anger Management, Moral Recognition Therapy, and a accountability letter in 2021. He's also completed 100 hours pre-release. He's a member of the License Association and she did it with the Culinary Arts Club. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
As I said before, she has a good transition plan with her brother-in-law's construction company, even with her mother, and institutional record is good. There's no issues with the work supervisor, security supervisor, and the classification officer. Let me get back to my presentation. Now, Ms. Posey, let's talk about the drug addiction.
My what?
Drug addiction.
Yes, sir.
Drug addiction. And
Probably around 30.
so it was environment.
Yes, sir.
What was your drug of choice?
At that age, really, it was just marijuana.
And what did you graduate to later on in life?
Oh, anything really. Pills, downers, really, Xanax and methamphetamine.
When was your first arrest for a drug charge? How old were you?
I don't think I have any arrests for drug charges.
So basically, you were under the radar.
I think I have something about marijuana or distributing to something for marijuana.
So how often did you use illegal drugs?
Every day I could get them.
Where did you get the finances to purchase the drugs?
Well, I would have like odd jobs or, my parents, they was always give me money if I asked. I would do stuff around the neighborhood, I would jack people,
At what age did you drop out of school?
I dropped out, I think it was in the 9th grade, so I was like 15.
When is the last time you used any illegal drug?
Oh, the night I came to prison. May 6, 2005.
This is not a trick question.
Yes, sir.
Have you used drugs in the last 17 and a half years?
No, sir, I have not.
I see that you take Celebrate Recovery, another substance abuse program in 209. And I see that you're in Living in Balance and you were removed from that program after 4 or 5 weeks. Why were you removed from Living in Balance?
Listen, why were you removed from Living in Balance?
I was never removed. That information is incorrect. I completed Living in Balance.
Okay. Warren Thomas, on her program chart, it said that she was removed and complete that program. Did you complete both parts of Living in Balance?
Complete those, like 1 and
3
2.
phases.
Mhm.
I have it just says Living in Balance on my certificate. I'm not sure of the phases, but I wasn't removed. I've never been removed for any program I've been a part of.
Warren Thomas, you see what I'm talking about?
I'm looking for Living in Balance.
I have a certificate for that.
But let's continue. Warren, you can tell me about it later.
I think it's actually the dot is clicked remove, but it actually has a completion date of October of 2027. I think that's just a data entry. You're looking at that mental health screen printout.
Yes.
Okay, I think it has a completion date of 2027. I think that's just an error on our staff. I'll have them correct it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Posey, you have multiple letters and statements of support from family, friends, and institutional staff. And you also have the support of the DA for IJDC, Scott Perlin. Warren Thomas, would you like to make any comments, remarks, or observations at this time?
I think you really hit it on the nail when you were talking about her educational and vocational classes that she's participated in since she's arrived, and really put forth an effort to mentor and tutor other ladies who are also in educational and VOTech. And I think that speaks volume about her character. Her and I talked for a long time last week, and that, is such a meaningful thing for her, is what she expressed to me. So I think that's very important. I also did want to note that she recently, and I assume you all know since Mr. Myers is on, she recently interviewed with the Parole Project. So she will have involvement of with the Parole Project if she is granted.
Very good. And basically, she has a good transition plan now, but she will need the organization of the Louisiana Parole Project, which will enhance her chances of succeeding.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chairman, I do have a recommendation in this case, and I will share it with my fellow board members at the conclusion of this interview.
Correct. At this time, we'd like to hear from the Parole Project, Mr. Myers.
Good morning, Kerry Myers with the Louisiana Parole Project. I could reiterate all the things said about Ms. Posey's rehabilitation, her programming, her education. That would be redundant. I think that was covered very well, but Parole Project understands very clearly that women are different and their needs are different. And our program has successfully worked with more than 24 women since we began. And we understand we have the capacity, we have the case management, we have the social work staff. We understand those needs. We're prepared to assist her through her transition. And we want this board to know that we think Ms. Posey is an excellent candidate, and all our services, particularly those we understand the specific needs of women transitioning. We'll provide all those services for Ms. Posey.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. We have here with us Sheila Posey. You want to step up to the podium, ma'am?
Oh, nothing but the person.
Introduce yourself and tell us your relationship to Ms. Posey.
Actually saying it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you need to speak up so she can hear you.
Oh, okay. My name is Sheila Posey, I'm actually stand. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for allowing us to be here today, for allowing me to speak. Sorry, this is an emotional time. I can't believe you on my letters, so I don't lose myself. Ashley incarceration have affected her family as well as other members dramatically. In 2005, Ashley was an uneducated teenager with no positive parole model, no goals in life, no plans for her future. She hung around other teenagers that were just like her, merely existing from day to day. There is no doubt on that fateful day, Ashley made a terrible decision that changed her life as well as others. Her immediate family has suffered tremendously over the years. And I know that you can't change the past, but you can use your past to change the future. And I believe that Ashley has done that. I believe that over the last 17 and a half years, Ashley has been growing and learning and changing. She has had with one consistent visitor, 17 and a half years, much to my disgrace. And the free world life goes on, and we tend to forget about those that are locked away from us. And for this, I apologize, Ashley, because I got caught up in life. And I stopped visiting her, much as everyone else did. 17 and a half years is a long time to have one solid visit. So I feel that Ashley has made these choices to change herself on her own. Been there alone, but she's done good. I say all this because I know that you're all aware of her accomplishments and her achievements and her educational advancements. But I wanted you all to be aware that she made those accomplishments on her own alone, basically. She chose to try to better herself. She chose to change to be smarter, stronger, and more understanding. Chose to continue to better herself in the hope of one day being able to return to society and to be a productive member, and to return to her family, to be strong and wise. I ask you today, please grant Ashley clemency, give her a second chance to live life right, and to be a positive and productive individual. She has a good support system, she has a job lined up, she'll be in a church. Very loved and very needed at home with her family. Again, I thank you for your time and for listening to what I have to say. I love you, Ashley.
Ma'am. And then we have Miss Tina Posey, who's there at the facility.
With her.
Yes, yes, we'd like to hear from her.
Can I step out? No.
Good morning. So I apologize. I'm going to try to make it through this, but I'm Tina Posey, Ashley Posey's sister. As it's been said here today, she is a very educated young lady. She's changed. She came to prison as a 19-year-old uneducated young child. Today, she is a 37-year-old educated young lady. I'm sorry, you guys, I had all of this written down and prepared to say, but I'm just going to say this. I am super, super proud of the young lady that she has become. I'm amazed what a penal institution can do for someone. Both ways. I stand here today and plead for you to grant my sister so that she has a chance to show a second chance again and to show what the system can do for someone. She has a loving family at home who she has continuously became to be a role model over the phone to her nieces and nephews, who she does homework with, who they have to ask for their Aunt Lele, which they call her, to help, because they know it. Other than Google, Aunt Lele is the person to ask. Once again, I ask you to grant my sister to, and I promise you that she will be a witness of what God, not God, with the willingness and the wanting to, and what a penal system could do. Thank you. I haven't written it about it. Say everything else.
All right, I think the district attorney's office is trying to dial in, but while we're waiting on that, could we hear from Captain Bowden or Bowden, Sheriff's Office?
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
On behalf of myself, I was a case agent on this particular case, and the Sheriff Jason Ord. We would definitely not want her to be able to get out.
Thank you. So we noted the opposition by the Sheriff's Office. Is the district attorney's office in there? We have with us the Assistant District Attorney, Mr. Kurt Wall. Mr. Wall, can you hear us?
I can, thank you.
Go ahead. We're ready for your remarks.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry that I thought that we were going to be able to do this a little more formally, but I appreciate you giving me a minute to chime in. So, speaking on behalf of Mr. Perilou and myself, he's actually traveling today, but I'm familiar with this case because I'm the one that tried it. And the facts of the case, as you all know, were that Ms. Posey, while she was involved in the commission of this crime, she was actually not the person who pulled the trigger. That person was allowed to plead to manslaughter in this case. Ms. Posey was also made an offer back at the time of the incident when she went to court. And she was young. I don't know exactly. I wasn't obviously privy to the conversations between she and her attorney, but she turned it down. We went to trial. She was found guilty of the murder and sentenced to life. Mr. Perilou received some information from Ms. Posey that he was impressed with as far as what she's done since she's been incarcerated, things that she's done to try and rehabilitate herself. And I think we met about it together, and we actually, Mr. Abbott set up a Zoom meeting during COVID time for us to actually have a conversation with Ms. Posey. And both of us were impressed with what she's done since she's been there. And Mr. Perilou wanted to, at the time that her case would come up for a commutation, wanted to let the board know that he does not have any opposition to the board granting a commutation. And of course, that's up to you guys on as far as what parameters of that would be if you decide to do that. But I don't think that he has any strong feelings about her doing any additional time. So just wanted to tell you that for your consideration. Certainly, I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
We have a question, Mr. Roche.
Mr. Wall, Alvin Roche. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There was some indication in the report that Ms. Posey was not even aware that Mr. Patrick was going to shoot the victim. My understanding is that they were going to rob him of some drugs, and when he opened the door, Mr. Patrick just shot him immediately.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility based on what I can recall. I think that Ms. Posey, from what I recall, her involvement was really that she had the relationship with the victim, and that she sort of helped set up what was going to be a robbery of some drugs. Obviously, substance abuse played a huge part, I think, in this commission of this crime. And there was some fairly immediate altercation as soon as he opened the door. I think that's correct. Of course, we were relying on another person's account who was also sort of involved in the incident as a witness. But that's my recollection, is that it happened pretty instantaneously. Once that door was opened, that there was quick altercation and the victim was shot. So I think it is, I don't think there's any really strong evidence that Ms. Posey had any idea that that was going to happen prior to the door being opened. That's your question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, sir, sure.
All right, I don't see any other questions, Mr. Wall. We do appreciate you dialing in and sharing those remarks on behalf of Mr. Attorney.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so at this time, we'd like to hear if Ms. Posey, Ms. Posey, do you have a statement you'd like to make before we turn it over to Ms. Hogan?
Yeah, can I say something to the family of the victim?
Well, we'd like you to address your remarks to the board, please.
Oh, okay, yeah, first I want to say thank y'all for giving me this opportunity today. And I just ask that y'all have mercy on me. You know, don't allow the poor decisions I made in the past to be a mar on the person I am today. And that's all. That's it.
Well said. Ms. Hogan?
Thank you, Ms. Renata. Ashley Posey's case presents several examples of excellent perspective. Although she was not the person who shot Mr. Jimmy in this case, her perspective on her role in the crime is astounding. She is the first person to tell you that if it wasn't her suggestion to go over to the house, Mr. Jimmy would still be alive. She has made amends with Mr. Jimmy's family. They support her clemency, as noted by Mr. Roche. And also her perspective on what brought her to prison is profound. She knows that she was heavily addicted to drugs. And as she told you today, when she turned the corner, when she got arrested and came to prison, she never used drugs again. She has taken multiple substance abuse classes. She's dedicated to her sobriety. She has in turn helped other people achieve their sobriety. And if she's granted relief, she is going to be an active member in the sober community, wherever she is released to ultimately. She also has demonstrated that even after she was granted hearing approximately a year ago, she continued to take advantage of opportunities to better herself. She recently completed the Tyro program, Victims Awareness, Welding Level 1. She's currently involved in Welding Level 2, which is her third vocational certification. She has, as Mr. Roche noted, a vocational degree in upholstery and in horticulture. All of these are excellent reasons to commute Ms. Posey's sentence. As noted by the district attorney's office, there's no opposition or need to have her serve further time. So given that there's support for her clemency from the victim and from the district attorney's office, I would suggest that this board consider vacating Ashley's sentence and sentencing her to time served, or imposing a sentence that a term of year sentence that would have immediate parole eligibility. And I thank you for this opportunity.
I think Mr. Roche, are you prepared for that?
Yes, I am. Madam Chairman, Ms. Posey, based upon excellent program, educational advancements, community service as a tutor in multiple programs where you assist fellow inmates in obtaining a vocational skill, family support, support from the local district attorney's office. The victim's brother is unopposed. The victim's niece is unopposed. And circumstances that was brought to light by District Attorney Scott Perlew about the applicant's co-defendants. And I want to give an explanation of my recommendation before I give a recommendation. This is a very rare case of second-degree murder where I almost always require the defendant to serve at least 24, 25 or greater years of incarceration. But this case has mitigating circumstances that I am taking into consideration when I give my recommendation. My recommendation takes into consideration if she would have taken the plea deal for manslaughter with a sentence of 20 years, she would have been parole eligible after serving 85% of that sentence. So my recommendation is, and we recommend to the governor, a commutation of sentence to 50 years with immediate parole eligibility.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Mr. Marabella?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Ms. Posey, I thoroughly enjoyed your review. You have done some tremendous things while you've been in prison. It is unusual when the district attorney and the assistant district attorney who is prosecuting the case come to this board with the recommendation as Mr. Wall suggested today. My vote likewise would commute your sentence to 50 years with immediate parole eligibility. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
I concur with both of my colleagues. You like Ms. Hogan stated and others that stated, you know, sometimes you can go to prison and not learn anything, and sometimes you can go to prison and come out a different person. And I do feel that you're a different person today. So I concur with my colleague. Also vote for you.
Thank you.
Jackson?
Posey, I concur for the same reason.
Hey, Ms. Posey, and I do concur with my colleagues. You had a good interview today. It's great to hear from your family. So my vote is the same. So on your behalf, we'll make the recommendation to the governor that your sentence be commuted for 50 years to be immediately paroled.
Thank you so much.
Close our business at your facility. We're going to adjourn. It's 11:05. Thank you for coming.
You have a good one.
So let's unpack that, and we'll also go through some of the transcripts. Yeah, totally unique. I've never seen a prosecutor get on a call to say that he's for a release. Never heard of that. Also, does anyone know who the Ghostbusters lady was? I think we're all trying to figure that out. Did she just like jump onto the Zoom call? So, all right. So this was the victim who was shot, Jimmy Morris, and killed in his trailer. This is the this is his trailer. So it says here, you know, the jury convicted Livingston Parish woman of second-degree murder charges on Thursday. Prosecutors say Ashley Posey and two others killed Jimmy Morris inside his home, the Big D Trailer Park in Walker, back in May of 2005, where he was shot in the head. And then Posey was held in lockdown after an outburst from the verdict, which at her young age, yeah, she was given a plea deal. She was like, no, I'm not taking that plea deal, which a lot of young people will look at it and say, well, that's basically my whole life. And she probably never thought she can get convicted. So now this is the response to her appeal. So 3 years, I think, after her conviction, the appeal came in, and it goes through the details. And basically, her appeal was, look, I didn't know he had a gun. And they basically go through how she knew that he had a gun. So it's rather long, and I'll put the link in the description, but I'll just like brief you on it. But in a nutshell, she went with two other people to the defendant's trailer park to steal pills, and she knew the defendant, so knocked on the door. He opened it. Hey, what's up? And then immediately hit her co-defendant, pulled out a gun and shot him in the head, and then they ran. And according to this, they didn't even steal anything. So it's just like, you're just like, what? And they state in here that the reason that she knew that he had a gun is that earlier that day he was playing Russian roulette with it in the car and in the house. So this guy was just like a loose cannon. He was 18, she was 19, but just, I do believe that she had no idea he was going to shoot him. She probably did know he had a gun though. And when you're that age and that mindset, it's like, come on, I didn't sign up to this. And I get that. He only got a 30-year sentence. She got a life sentence. You know, the only reason that she's up for this opportunity to get this commutation for a life sentence is because of a bill that was passed that allows everyone to get relooked at and for this to happen. Now, what's going to happen next is that this commutation recommendation is going to go in front of the governor. The governor is then going to have to sign it. And then there'll be one more hearing, which will pretty much be a shoo-in unless she does something really dumb, like it's a serious infraction or something. And then she'll finally get paroled. How long that will take, I really don't know. There have been cases. So if you see on in the hearing, here, I'll go back to this. Kerry Myers. So Kerry Myers, who runs the parole project, he was held. He insists he was innocent, accused, I believe it was of killing. I think it was, well, there was a murder that he was involved in. I think it was killing his wife, but his family, even the wife's family, all insisted it was a wrong conviction. He, after serving like 30 years or something, eventually got a commutation from his sentence, and then the governor never signed it. And it was like 6 years later, finally, that governor left office, and a new governor came in and it was signed. And Kerry Myers, to his credit, has now devoted his life to helping others. So it is possible that a governor just doesn't sign it. But however, this governor in office seems to be, I think he's only has not signed 30. And I don't know how many he gets or what percentage that is, but I doubt that. So I don't know how long it will take either. But we'll do the hearing because they will come back to this board. So when she does have her hearing, we'll do it and we'll know. But these are one of the cases. I mean, if the prosecutor themselves gets up and says she should get out, then it's like, okay, like I'm not going to have any objection. And I do believe that she had no intentions of, she went there for an armed robbery, and she has a friend who is really obviously suicidal, playing Russian roulette, and he just pulled a gun out and shot the guy for no reason. So again, I'll leave all the info down below, and then love to hear your comments. Oh, and the carnal knowledge thing, I Googled it. I tried finding it. I really wanted to know, like, what was that about? How old was her victim? Couldn't find it anywhere. So, you know, in Louisiana, I think the law is anyone who is more than 2 years younger than you, it would fall under that category. So it's hard to get it's hard to get emotional about it without knowing his age. 2 years younger if you're under 18, sorry. So if you're like 17 and the person is 16, 15, then it would fall under carnal knowledge. But now with that, I'll let you go. Thank you.